Alrighty, folks, welcome. Today we are continuing our series on cognitive behavioral therapy techniques or cognitive behavioral techniques. So week one, we went into the intro to cognitive behavioral therapy. You'll hear me refer to it as CBT. Again, CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. Week two, we went into cognitive distortions and how to reframe them. Week three, we went into using CBT to overcome anxiety and depression. That was a good lesson. You guys can find that on my YouTube channel if you missed it. And today we're covering long-term application of CBT techniques. So how do we incorporate, these CBT techniques into our life, not just a season or a part of our life, but using these powerful tools and protocols to having them in our toolbox for the rest of our lives. And that's kind of the goal here with this four-week curriculum, is to just provide you guys with practical tools in a concise manner. So just like all of my lessons, not all of them, I should say, the majority of them, I broke today's lesson of long-term application of CBT techniques into two parts. Part one being incorporating CBT strategies into daily life for lasting change. And part two being the importance of self-reflection and mental flexibility. Mental flexibility and self-reflection, just two of some of the most important things to be a productive member of society in my eyes. Is knowing yourself. That self-recognition is a necessary step in becoming a better person. And then the mental flexibility to not stay in that rigid mindset and be willing and open to change, and knowing that it can be for the better and not just being stuck in your ways because that's how you've done things. So let's jump into it, folks, if everybody's ready to go. And quickly, if you guys do have questions, concerns, comments, anything and everything in between during the lesson, please don't hesitate to reach out in the chat and just have me cover a topic more in depth, or just leave a comment, whatever it might be. I encourage you to do so, even if it's your first time here. So let's jump into it. Incorporating CBT strategies into daily life for lasting change. Daily thought monitoring and replacement. This stuff's important and something I incorporate in my daily life. So daily thought monitoring and replacement. Regularly identifying and challenging negative thought patterns helps reinforce healthier thinking habits over time. Again, that's important, that identifying and challenging negative thought patterns. Daily practice of CBT techniques like thought replacement leads to more adaptive responses and reduces the influence of automatic negative thoughts. This is another term you will hear. You've heard it in my previous psychology lessons. Automatic negative thoughts, an abbreviation is ANT, A-N-T. Automatic negative thoughts. I'll say that one more time. Daily practice of CBT techniques like thought replacement leads to more adaptive responses and reduces the influence of automatic negative thoughts, ANTs. So I encourage you guys to set aside a few minutes each day to reflect on your thoughts and identify any reoccurring negative patterns. Replace them with balanced, constructive thoughts to build lasting mental resilience. So quickly, for those of you guys who have not listened to my lessons previously, I stand on the shoulders of giants. This stuff is not drawn from my own experience, even though I do recognize these practical tools and protocols and examples in my own life and know that they do help on a very personal and deep level. But this stuff is well researched, thought out. I'm not just grabbing little stray points of research and picking and choosing. Like, this stuff is well established and proven. So if you guys want links to any of that stuff, I could be sure to provide you guys with that. But essentially what the last couple bullet points I just went over are, daily thought monitoring is super important. And essentially what that means is just being aware of what your thoughts are. Instead of just being fully run by your subconscious, you're kind of just going through the day, really not paying attention to what goes through your head, whether it's positive or negative. But here's my encouragement to you. And we know from our wellness lessons and our psychology lessons going over CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, the thoughts you have in your head are physically changing the structures of your brain. So if you consider yourself someone who's not new agey, very traditional and very scientific based in your thinking, well, here's some great information for you. If you want to live a happier life, you have to start challenging these negative thought patterns that come into your head. And I promise you, on a biochemical level and a physical level of the structure of your brain, the better thoughts you have, the more joyful and happy you will be. And the less fog, the brain fog as they call it, you'll have less brain fog. You'll have less of these anxious and worrisome feelings, and you'll be less prone to sadness and depression just by thinking better thoughts. And I know that sounds so crazy, but we have great things to prove this now. So again, I'm not going to beat the dead horse, even though I say that all the time, just because I love to get the point across in a clear way. It's not always concise, but I do try to articulate so everybody can understand. But if you're seeking change, better change in your life, it is so important to start with self-awareness. So when we talk about daily thought monitoring, all it's saying is be self-aware of the thoughts that you're having. So when you do have negative thoughts or a triggering response, and I know trigger is a buzzword nowadays, unfortunately, because it's very, a truth to our lives is there are events and things that happen in our lives that are triggering, and a lot of times it's subconscious. And maybe it's as simple for you as you wake up and someone says something to you that just kind of ticks you or hits you the wrong way, strikes a nerve. You may not even be conscious of that, but all of a sudden you have, from 5 minutes into the start of your day, you now have a bad day for the remaining 16 hours that you're awake. If you're not aware of those negative thought patterns, you're not going to be able to fix them. They're just building a feedback loop into your brain on a physical level, a structural, a biochemical level on your brain that is, if you're not actively trying to change it, it is essentially impossible to do better unless I would go as far as to say it is very, very, very unlikely that that's going to change without self-awareness and without challenging those negative thought patterns. So again, I don't mean to beat the dead horse here, folks, but self-awareness, daily thought monitoring, and replacing those negative thoughts with more positive ones are so crucial. And we'll go over some examples of how to actually do that in the latter part of this lesson. Quantum physics, baby, dude, that's a whole can of worms. Holy crap, quantum physics. Anyway, I love science, folks. I love it. I nerd out about so much things. If you guys are nerds like me and love to research stuff, look into type 3 diabetes. Holy crap, is that changing my perspective on things? Anyway, that was a sidebar. Moving forward in today's lesson, the use of behavioral activation. So what is it? Behavioral activation involves engaging in positive activities to improve mood and reduce avoidance behaviors. Avoidance behaviors. Do you guys catch yourself being avoidant at times when something triggers you? I know I am sometimes, and I know many of my friends do as well. One more time. Behavioral activation involves engaging in positive activities to improve mood and reduce avoidance behaviors, commonly applied to combat anxiety and depression. So your doctor, your physician may, if you are depressed with anxiety or depression, or you're just sad consistently, and maybe now that you know that you should be aware of these automatic negative thought patterns, these ants in your brain, maybe this is the first step into making a change and using behavioral activation, like as simple. Let me get into the notes here so I don't go off topic. Integrating enjoyable activities into your daily routine can enhance motivation and create a positive feedback loop for sustained well-being. The same way that we just talked about how automatic negative thoughts, if you are not self-aware of those and you're not challenging them and trying to replace them actively, they create a negative feedback loop. Integrating enjoyable activities will create a positive feedback loop, and it has to be daily. You cannot go through your life 6 days a week really struggling with automatic negative thoughts and really not enjoying what you're doing, and you just this chronic stress in your life on a mental level, an emotional level, a physical level sometimes, this stuff, and then 1 day a week you do something that's good for you. That's not enough. That is not enough. And you have to do stuff daily to, one, reduce stress. So because we know stress causes inflammation, chronic stress that is. Some stress is good for us. We know that. Some stress, or I should say chronic stress, leads to inflammation. And we know a precursor to almost every disease known to humans is a precursor to that disease. All these diseases is inflammation. And we know chronic stress causes inflammation across the entire body. So if you want to be healthy, I highly, highly recommend introducing stress-reducing activities in your daily life. And that could be as simple as taking 5 minutes for yourself, morning, afternoon, or night, and just breathing. Maybe that's outside. I would highly recommend outside and getting as much sunlight as you can. But maybe it's just going for a walk. Or maybe it's putting your phone on Do Not Disturb and sitting down and playing a video game for 30 minutes to an hour. If you have time for that, that's awesome. I think oftentimes video games can be have this negative connotation around them because of X, Y, and Z, whatever they are. But if it's something that truly brings you joy and reduces stress in your life, go for it. Just do it in moderation. Whatever it is, whatever you choose to apply in your life daily to reduce stress, make it something that's beneficial for you. And video games can do that for you. Or playing with your kids outside, spending 15 minutes with them, doing something you like. Maybe you enjoy cooking. Try a new recipe. Say like 3 times a week, you're going to try a new recipe. Whatever it might be for you. I can go on and on about examples, but just really try to, and start today, really try to incorporate in your daily life something that reduces stress, that you enjoy in your heart. That is just, there's no strings attached. You're not doing it for any reason except for the enjoyment of the activity. And I'm not saying go do drugs. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying doing something that is happy and healthy and helps reduce stress in your life. So again, that's just a kind of some commentary and editorial, if you will, on the use of behavioral activation. So again, one more time, we'll go over the definition. Behavioral activation involves engaging in positive activities to improve mood and reduce avoidance behaviors, commonly applied to combat anxiety and depression. And this stuff's powerful if you do want to improve your trading, which I believe all of us do. That's why you're part of this community. Trading can take a very heavy toll on your emotional state, and essentially your biochemical state of your body, your nervous system even. Like, this stuff can't be overlooked and just kind of like, oh, whatever. Like, become self-aware. Like, this stuff can take a toll on your body, and if you're not combating it, it will create negative feedback loops on a physical level in your brain, and you're setting yourself up for failure. Okay. All right. That is part 1. We're moving into part 2. I know that was quite a bit there. So if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, let me know. If not, let's jump into part 2. First of all, before we do that, let's take 30 seconds, take a deep breath. Gosh, how powerful is breathing? I feel better every single time I do that. Frank says, it is crazy what foods cause inflammatory issues in your body. Yeah, I never demonize carbs. I think carbs are necessary. I know some of you guys are keto, and good for you if that works for you. But yeah, excess carbs do cause inflammation in the body. And I believe Americans are ingesting daily like 3 times the recommended amount of carbohydrates. And we're getting 1/3 of the necessary protein to sustain our health. Make a change, folks. Make a change. All right. The importance of self-reflection and mental flexibility. Oh, two things that are so close to my heart. Self-reflection and mental flexibility. Self-reflection for continuous improvement. Regular self-reflection enables you to assess your thoughts, behaviors, and emotional responses, facilitating continuous personal growth. Self-reflection should be happening on an hour-to-hour basis. And I'm not saying, maybe do take 5 minutes and actually reflect, but as you move through the experiences of your life, whether it is a personal experience through work, like me, I work on the computer all the time, not interacting with other people. So sometimes things will get frustrating. A program's not working the way it's supposed to, or, and I have a negative emotional response or a negative thought pattern to that. For me, the self-reflection is happening on a level of okay, that was not healthy. I could have handled that better. What could I do to improve in the future? Or maybe I don't feel like having those thoughts and I just take a deep breath. Seriously, that is game changing, and I highly encourage you guys to do so. And self-reflection can also come about if you deal with people all the time. That could be tremendously frustrating at times and also tremendously rewarding, and I think they fluctuate quite often. So when you're dealing with in a situation with someone where it does arise a lot of these negative emotions and negative thought patterns, challenging that in real time. Okay, are these thoughts and emotions beneficial for anybody in this situation? Most of the time, the answer is going to be no. And if you're able to just ask yourself that question in real time when you're dealing with someone frustrating, if you work in customer service or whatnot, or just with coworkers or a boss, take a deep breath. Be like, okay, I can handle this better. I'm going to try to do better. And it will be the way I move forward right now will affect this situation in a better way. So, self-reflection can happen on such a small level, or it can happen on a very thoughtful, real level, like every night, taking 15 minutes to journal how you handled certain situations and writing down what you could have done better, just reflecting. This self-reflection doesn't have to be something that, is overtaxing and takes a lot of time. It can happen really quickly, just like that, by taking a deep breath and moving forward in a better light, or on a very intentional level and doing it like journaling every night, or having a conversation with someone that you trust. Hey, I'd love to start, practicing self-reflection with an accountability partner. Would you like to do that with me, twice a week or whatever it might be? That could be also very helpful. So, practical tip for us: maintain a journal to document daily exercises and reflect on how you handle challenges. Review these entries weekly to identify areas for improvement and track your progress. Again, this is a very intentional method. You don't have to do this, especially you should also not feel shame if this is your first time practicing intentional self-reflection. Even if you're 65 years old, 70 years old, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It's about the present and what you're going to do to become a better person. So I truly believe in people on a very deep level. So believe in yourself and start practicing self-reflection and mental flexibility. But it doesn't have to be as intentional as writing down a journal nightly. I highly encourage it. There's really good studies to prove how helpful that is for your emotional state, your mental state. And we know your mental state directly affects your physical state. So you'll be a healthier individual overall if you practice journaling daily about your emotions and experiences. But if you don't want to go that intentional and that in depth about it, just try it in real time. When someone cuts you off in traffic and you feel really, really frustrated, take a deep breath. Understand that they may be going through something that is so incredibly wild you can probably not even imagine it, or maybe they're just selfish. Either way, your response to that is your thoughts of that guy's an asshole and what the hell was that, and that negative feedback loop, is that beneficial for you or them? No, it's not. So just take a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself those questions. It can be so powerful. It's life-changing. All right, folks, our last point is developing mental flexibility. So mental flexibility is the ability to adapt to new information and change perspectives, a core aspect of CBT that helps prevent rigid or fixed thinking. This is so important. And especially I think about, when I research these lessons, and especially at this time in our lives as Americans, for my American friends, moving into the election, a lot of people practice a very fixed mindset. Like, I'm voting for this person no matter what, new information is presented to me. And again, I'm not saying that's happening on a cognitive level where you're saying that out loud or even in your head. It's on a subconscious level where you're really not open to new information to change your perspective. And I highly encourage you to challenge that negative thought. That is a negative thought. And I don't want you to think of it in any different light. That is, well, that's a fixed mindset. I don't know if there I am. But I do believe it is a negative thought to have this fixed mindset. And I'm not saying to challenge, certain morals that are foundational to yourself, but maybe you do. Maybe you're the foundation of what you base your life off of, and all of your actions should be challenged and should be questioned. And what I'm saying is that there are things that we base a lot of our actions and decisions on without putting second thought into. And I just encourage you guys to practice mental flexibility and be able to adapt to new information and change your perspective, even if that may change the foundation of a lot of your thought patterns. And understand that your thoughts are not who you are at the core. Sure, they affect a massive aspect of what you do, but just because you believed in something for 40, 50 years, maybe you're a lot younger like me, maybe you believed in something for the past 10 years of your life, and now you're presented with new information that challenges it. I encourage you to really dive into that new information and be the type of person that is open to change on a respectful level, and just you view that stuff analytically the same way you would look at new technical information that comes from the stock market. You have to be that type of person if you want to be the best version of yourself. So one more time, mental flexibility is the ability to adapt to new information and change perspectives, a core aspect of cognitive behavioral therapy that helps prevent rigid or fixed thinking. So I encourage you guys to challenge yourself to view situations from different angles by asking, what's another way I could look at this? Or, that's one example of many, but what's another way I could look at this? This practice fosters adaptability, and it helps you manage stress more effectively, because when you do have a fixed mindset and this new information is presented to you, and you're such in a fixed mindset that it becomes extremely, anxiety driving and overwhelming at times, because it's challenging a foundational aspect, you believe a foundational aspect of who you are. But I'm telling you, your beliefs may not be as foundational to who you are as you might think. And again, I'm not saying it is or it is not foundational to who you are, but I'm challenging you to ask those questions for yourself. Is my belief of this thing, or my stance on this hill, is this something that I'm willing to die on? Or am I open to new information, and am I open to a new perspective that may be potentially very beneficial for me in my relationships and my friends, and maybe financially, whatever it might be? I just encourage you guys to have that open mindset, to have the open heart, to soften your heart to new information, and to be able to lead conversations in that same way, with a desire of understanding, rather than, hey, I'm trying to have you, change your perspective, and I want to shift your perspective into my perspective. No, it should be, I'm seeking to understand, and I am talking in a way to articulate my beliefs to you so you can understand. And if we just seek with understanding and with love first, and mutual respect, because I think a lot of people forget or have never had the thought that if you had the exact same brain, if you were born with the exact same brain as this person that has a vastly different worldview than you, and you grew up in the exact same way, in the exact same situations, and had the exact same experiences that that person had, you would have the exact same beliefs that that person does. You would have that radical belief or worldview that you oppose so much. So understanding that helps me a lot in, pursuing in my dialogue and in my conversations as, from a stance of trying to understand. And I think understanding gets lost, when we have a fixed mindset and we're just trying to prove our point instead of understanding theirs. And it's, again, I talk about, this last point here, mental flexibility, I'm just encouraging you guys to challenge your own thoughts and to seek understanding rather than to prove your point. So, and maybe your point does get proven through seeking understanding. That's awesome if that happens. Like, oh, cool, I was right about this thing that I felt intuitive about. Or it's like, okay, holy crap, I'm wrong. That was, all right, well, shoot, I'm glad I was presented with that new information and I can change my perspective. That's cool. Like there's no downside to seeking understanding. So, but you will, that's part of growing up. You do, I believe knowledge sometimes causes a lot of grief. And, I know that now. But I say that from a grateful perspective as well, just because I've experienced grief because of knowledge that I've acquired and wisdom that I've acquired. I now I'm better able to help the people, because if I was ignorant to a lot of world's problems and what things or what struggles people go through, I bet my life would be a lot more blissful. As they say, ignorance is bliss, but then I wouldn't be able to help those people and they'd just be struggling without, someone in their corner potentially. So, I don't know, lots to think about. This life of ours is pretty crazy, but here's my closing statement to you guys. By incorporating CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy strategies, into your daily routine and focusing on self-reflection and mental flexibility, you can create lasting positive change, enhance resilience, and support a healthier, more balanced mindset over time. Again, folks, this stuff's important, and not only on a trading level, and it is very powerful. CBT is so powerful to help your trading strategy, your trading psychology, your discipline, the whole thing. But it's so much deeper than that, and it can really help you live life to the fullest. And I don't say that like in a cliche way, even though it may be. Like truly, it can help you be a more joyful person that recognizes negative thought patterns that have been there since childhood potentially, and you're able to challenge them and help replace them, and understanding that when you start to challenge them, there's physical changes happening in your brain and biochemical changes happening in your physiology that is making you a more joyful and a better person, and the endorphins that are released from your brain because of that are going to be healthier for you. It's amazing. It's amazing how powerful your thoughts can be. So challenge your thinking, folks. Challenge those negative thoughts. Ask questions like, are these thoughts going to be beneficial to me or anybody in this situation? And most of the time when they are negative thoughts, they're not beneficial. So I appreciate you guys a ton. That's all I have for you. And that was the last lesson on our cognitive behavioral strategies and techniques, our 4-week curriculum. So this weekend, I'm going to be coming up with a whole new set. I have some pretty good ideas for our next, we're actually starting over on all 3 of our classes: wellness, risk management, and psychology. So if you guys have topics that you guys want me to cover, I already have done quite a bit of research in some aspects, but I don't count that as a loss, even if I go with a totally different lesson plan based off some stuff that you guys recommend. That research is just beneficial for me, even if it doesn't go anywhere. But yeah, there's some cool stuff. I think potentially we're going to do some homework based stuff. Obviously it's not required, but some stuff that daily practices that I believe can really help us moving forward. Maybe that's psychology, maybe that's in risk management, maybe that's in wellness, maybe it's all three. But that's all I got for you guys today, folks. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, want to open in dialogue, maybe you're struggling with something, maybe you're not, maybe you're doing really well and you just want to share that, let me know in the chat. I'd love to hear from you guys, and you guys mean an awful lot to me, and those are not hollow words. You guys really do. I interact with some of you guys daily, like truly so that's pretty amazing stuff. Let's see what you guys got. See, Breezy, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. I'll never remember the name, but the breathing exercise is the business. It's called the John Connor sigh. The physiological sigh, but I appreciate it, brother. Man, I use it seriously, guys. I'm not even kidding you. The physiological sigh I use every single day, every day. And then if maybe I'm such in a emotional state where I don't even feel like taking the time to do that, even though it takes 5 seconds to do, even just taking a deep breath, like just a full breath with your diaphragm, it's so beneficial. Deep asks how to implement learning on applications. What do you mean by that? Applications? Learning on applications? Like, are you talking about websites? If you could articulate that question a little bit better, that would be great, Mr. Kuldeep. Thank you, AZ. You're amazing too. All you friends. Dude, I wish we had real names in the chat. Sometimes it's like, it's hard for me to, but I appreciate what you said. Started from the bottom trader, but I wish I could be like, thanks, Jeff, or whatever your name might be. What is your guys' name? I'll remember them. I know Ron, Frank, C Breezy, Travis, sweet Travis. I'll remember that. Pablo, Travis and Pablo. I'll remember that for sure. If I forget it, you guys, I owe you something. If I forget the names, I'll send you guys a hat. Then everybody's going to be sending me their names. All right. Well, Brandon, yours is easy too. You got it in your thing. Yeah, dude, change it. Change your name to your real name. That's what I did. I used to be John Wicks, as many of you guys know, but I was like, that's so like, I don't know. It just felt a lack of intimacy. And I believe a lot of people, their name is the most important aspect of them. And, sometimes it's not. Sometimes people hate their names, which, you don't get to pick it. Well, you can, but you guys know what I mean. When you meet someone and they like shake your hand and you tell them your name, like for example, me, like when I meet someone and I'm like, hey, my name's John, pleasure to meet you. And, they're like, oh, John, I love that name. Like, pleasure to meet you too. And then they use your name throughout the conversation. Like, sure, that could be a social strategy like politicians use often, but you definitely feel a deeper connection with that person, like right off the bat. And I think that's so cool. That stuff's awesome. Thanks for sending me your names, folks. How do you pronounce that? Tibor? What is it close? Tibor? Okay. Tibor. Easy enough. Thanks, friends. Well, cool. Yeah, folks, I really, really do, appreciate you guys a ton. Laz. Oh, Laz, what ethnicity are, if you want to answer, where are you from? That's such a cool name, Laz. Same with Tibor. Hungarian. That's cool. That's awesome. I need to travel more, folks. I used to travel quite a bit, and I've been slacking lately. Life changes, dude. I just need to stop taking things so seriously. I bought this new house. Super awesome. I'm proud of it. I'm glad to, be blessed with the opportunity to do so. But it's like things got tight. I got to put a bunch of money into it. Starting this new business with Joe. Like things get, sometimes, you're very, very focused on one thing, and sometimes you forget to do the things that really light your heart on fire. Like for me is experiencing new culture and traveling and, doing good for others. That stuff's so cool. Oh, your mom called you Sunshine? That's where that comes from? That's awesome. Oh, cool. Well, I'm so glad to meet you folks, like on a on a real level. Lena. So cool. Short for Lazaro. Am I pronouncing that correctly? So cool. Sweet. Kuldeep, I know your name. Awesome. Best name in the world is what your parents called you. You are blessed by God. Amen, brother. Amen. Well, cool. All right. I'm going to run through the names one more time. Ron, I know you. Travis, Pablo, Laz, Tibor, Lena. So cool. Love it. Kuldeep, I know you. And Jack, I already see you typing. I know your name. Cool friends. Well, my encouragement to you guys is really challenge the fundamental things of your life. Like truly ask yourself questions like about what you believe. If you were raised in a religious household, challenge those beliefs. Think independently. And I'm not saying that, to disagree with that for the sake of argument's sake, but I'm saying to do it for the sake of improvement and mental flexibility, and to truly start seeking understanding for the beliefs that you hold. A lot of psychologists and theologists believe that, and I believe it also, that our lives are dictated by our subconscious. A lot of people say the prefrontal cortex is what dictates our lives, but the subconscious is truly so powerful. And the reason you get up and do the things that you do is that on a cognitive level. Are you truly thinking all the time about the actions that you take and why you're taking them, and then question those deeper once you get an answer? I would argue no, especially for if we get trapped in the hustle bustle, the rat race as they call it. It can be really hard to, take a step back, take that breath, go outside and get connected to home, and challenge the things that you believe and you do. And I think the more that we do that, and the more we seek understanding, we can really start to see some really good change in our lives. And it could be overwhelming at first, but you have a community. You have a community right here that you can lean on and work through a lot of those deep questions that, challenge why we think and why we do. I mean, that stuff's cool. Jack, hey John, sorry I've not been able to be on here very often. I'm usually busy during this time, but I do miss your sessions. Jack, I appreciate the kind words. No problem. I totally understand. Previously, aka, okay, you're gonna help me with that. Pop Smoke, Yvette. Is it with the E sound? Yvette? I'm probably so off. I hope I'm not. Was that close? Yes. Okay. Sweet. Nice. I'm so bad with names. I'm so bad. Sweet. Yvette. Nice. Well, cool, friends. Tibor, Yvette, Lena, Kuldeep. We got Laz. That's so cool. I love that name. Lazaro. Cuban, Puerto Rican. Nice. Brandon, Pablo, Travis. Cool. I don't even know where to start, Tibor. Do you speak French? Is that French? I don't know. That goes to show how much knowledge I have. Oh, all right. At least I got the language correct. Yvette, but I'll stick to it the way John said it. Yvette? Was it wrong? I don't know. I'm going to stick with the Yvette. Anyway, 8 languages. That's so cool, folks. Kuldeep meaning the enlightened one in the family. Oh, that's awesome. I love the, what is it called? The meaning of words. I forget. It starts with the E. I forget. Anyway, folks, not to drag it on. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you tons. And I really do. We feel like we have a true community here. So I encourage you guys to, just be you fully in what you do. And, think if you don't like the job you're doing, I'm not saying to just quit it and walk away. Make it, a tangible, realistic goal to start doing what you do want to do. And I don't know. I think and I can't speak for a lot of different cultures, but I did grow up in the United States and I'm very familiar with Western culture. And I think a lot of, like, when you ask people, what do they want in life? So often you get things like, oh, I just want to be comfortable, financially, start a family probably. Like, brother, you have this one life. You have this one life and you're aiming to be comfortable. Oh, shoot. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I really do know that there's so much more and we all have a purpose here. And finding that purpose, it can be really challenging at times, but follow that childhood spark that really excites you and feels good to your soul, and it's beneficial for not only you but your community, your relationships, for people. Follow that spark, folks, because if you are like in this career, even if you are 25 years into a career and it brings you no joy, you're not doing anything beneficial for the community, and you're just doing it for the money. Well, shoot, you're not taking that money with you when you die. Man, I don't know. Food for thought, folks. But I do love each and every one of you, and you guys are awesome. So go tell your loved ones that you love them. Go do something healthy for yourself today. Please, please go do that. Drink enough water. If you are not getting resistance training in, do some push-ups if you can. If you can't, do some air squats by hanging on to the wall. Just move your body, do something. We are built to move. We are built to move. We are built to move. So love you guys. Have a fantastic day, and I will catch you tomorrow for our prop firm giveaway. See ya.